Let's now cross to Diamond Bank, where Kade Tinuye, a strategy and in strategy, is standing by to give us some thoughts on where the market is headed. Thank you so much, Kade, for joining us. So where do you think this market is headed from here?
Thank you. Well, I think we're about to see some correction in the market. We've already started seeing that. The market currently is trading at around 10% discount to its year high. So you would expect some further decline in market indices going forward.
All right, so you think we're going to see it fall back even more? And I guess I would agree with you. If you look at the volumes data, just about 2 billion naira was traded yesterday. I always think that's a good indicator of the appetite for risk. And if the volumes continue to be low, one gets the sense that the market is likely to continue to trend lower.
Yeah, I think the turnover is very important when you look at it from the perspective of the needed liquidity to push market indices upward. The value traded over the last 10 days have ranged between 1.7 to about 2.5 billion. That's not enough to push the market, and I think that most of that is coming from the apathy that we've seen from emerging market flows into Nigeria. Recall that earlier in the year, the Fed said that the quantitative easing is going to be gradually reduced towards Q3 this year. And I think investors are looking at that and taking caution in terms of putting their money in the Nigerian market and other emerging market. So that's responsible for some of the low volumes that we have seen. And again, when you look at the banking sector, the pessimism around banking stocks is really not helping the market at the moment.
Right, but let's take a look at Dangote Flour for a second, Kayode. What's your take on what an investor should do with that stock? We know that the loss continues. I mean, the first quarter numbers continue to show that the loss is widening. But again, a lot of people will consider the fact that the new management of Tiger Brands and the impact that they can have on that company. How do you play a stock like Dangote Flour?
Well, some school of thought would say that let's buy into the dip, but I think it's too early to do that. This is about sixth or fifth consecutive quarter of loss that we've seen Dangote Flour record in recent times, and that tells us a lot of challenges that the company is facing. Recall that Tiger Brands made a significant acquisition, but you wouldn't expect a turnaround in the company overnight. The company has struggled with maintaining market share, especially in its noodles subsidiary, which continues to face stiff competition from established players. So it will take some time for the company to be completely turned around, and I think I would recommend that investors still watch the stock.
All right, so stay
hope for better days. Yes.
So a good idea to stay on the sideline until we're sure that the bleeding has ceased. Okay, so in terms of buying into the dip, though, the market is dipping. So which stocks do you like in this context?
Well, I think there is still some opportunities in the banking sector, especially among the mid-tier banks. I say that because we've seen significant growth in their market share, and they're getting a lot more competitive and eroding some of the market shares of the big-time players. Some stocks like banks like Stanbic IBTC is making significant inroads into the retail space. I think Skybank is also doing well, particularly when you look at the result of these two banks in the last half-year result. It's really worth looking at those stocks again. And again, I would see some other opportunities in the insurance space. I expect some significant growth in their top line because the no premium, no cover policy of the regulator is getting more and more intense, and we've seen a lot of compliance, especially from the public sector. So I expect a lot more addition to their top line, which should translate into growth for them going into the next half of this year. So I will look at stocks like Custodian and Allied Insurance and also Mansan Insurance in that space. Okay,
so tier 2 banks and insurance companies, something to think about. Thank you. Let's leave it on that note. Thank you, Kade Tinuye, Strategy and Business Officer at Diamond Bank, giving us his thoughts on the opportunities that we can see in a dipping market in Nigeria. That's